back, settle in, and let's go through part 2 of the first aid kit for anxiety. And this time we're going to focus on the impact of abuse and how to move forward. So yesterday we were discussing how the mismatch in your brain between the way your brain thinks the world ought to be and the way your world is causes anxiety, because the number one value for your brain is safety. So then what we did was we put together a first aid kit for you so that wherever you are in your stage of anxiety, you can have your first aid kit to help you train yourself to get out of the house, because consistency is the key. Do it every day and you'll get there. Or if you're going out of the house, how to put it together so that it can help you when you're out. So if you go back to part 1, the full kit is there. However, between yesterday and today, I have added a couple of things to our list. So that's the list as it was, watermarked from the water that I took out. But here's a couple of other things that you can add to your list, and you can stick them on the back of your list so that you can remind yourself as well. One thing that I've found that is good when you're going out is chewing gum. So when you're going out to the shops or to somewhere else, because you're engaging your brain in chewing, it actually helps you remain in that state of I am fully present. Okay, believe it or not, it's the simplest thing, but it works. Another thing that you can do is, believe it or not, have chocolate. Why? What you're really looking for is comfort. So when you're engaging in something that's absolutely delicious, so for me it's chocolate, pick what yours is, and for me it comes into that part of the brain area. It helps with the pain. Not productive health-wise long-term and overdoing it, but certainly having a small chocolate bar with you, it's going to ease the pain in your brain. That's my take on it anyhow. Okay, so a bit of chocolate's not going to help you when you go out. It's going to make you feel good, which is going to ease the anxiety and help you regain some control over your brain. Give it a go. And also remember, we didn't have on this list to take your phone with you. So have your phone with you so that you can phone a friend who will understand that you're working through your first aid and you want to be able to say where you are, whether it's at the front door trying to get out or you're out and you want to have victory over the scenario that's around you. So for me, it would be a food court on a busy day, and I want to be able to stay there so that my brain gets used to the fact that there's noise when you're out and there's a lot to process. Take your phone, have a friend who understands that you can phone and just say, hey, this is where I'm at. I want to spend 5 minutes just relaxing so that my brain gets used to the fact that this world is normal. I just have chewing gum like this, Mentos chewing gum. That's to add to your first aid kit. There's 3 parts that are affected in abuse. So when it comes to abuse, we can't just concentrate on the brain. It is a vital part, obviously, because we need to heal that to have full freedom. When you're looking at abuse and having first aid for abuse, you've got to look at your body. Broken bones will heal, bruises will heal, but your brain, it's going to need some help. And certainly there'll be other facets of your body that may need healing as well. Now, your soul is the sum total of your thoughts, emotions, personality, character, your values, all that is uniquely you. So when people talk about your soul, they're simply talking about you as a unique individual and every part that makes up you. With abuse, also that gets an effect is your essence, your spirit. That is the true life-giving force of love that's inside of you. To know that it's there for you, if you've never ever thought about it, just think about when you fall in love. You know the power and the energy and everything that comes from within you. Well, that love, that deposit of absolute truth and pureness is there for you, not just in relationships and in other aspects of your life where love is required, kids, family, etc. It's also there for you and to help you overcome a lot of things in life. When you're looking at abuse and anxiety, you're not just looking at your brain, looking at your body, your soul, and your spirit. The effects of abuse will affect each of these parts of your life. It's going to affect your thoughts, emotions, limits, patterns, beliefs. It creates chaos. It affects your relationships. It affects your ability to let go, to even recognize what you need to let go of, and it affects your life path. As we grow and heal, it contributes to our life path, because nothing is ever wasted. It just affects it, big picture. Without going into a whole session on your life path, abuse affects it. In its most simplest, and I mean simplest form, we're going to look at the abuse as darkness and you as a pool of light. So the source within you, your pure essence, as love, and it emanates light. Like I said, just think when you're in love, or when you see anybody who's first in love, don't they emit this most beautiful light from within? If it's from within, it's sustainable. If it's just from up here, it doesn't last. Okay, so we're going to go with it's from within and it's sustainable point of view in order to give the example between light and darkness in abuse. What happens when we are abused? Someone is, and again, I can't reiterate enough how this is in the simplest term. The person who is the abuser deposits darkness into our sphere of light. So the light from within us emanates, they come along and they abuse us and they make deposits of darkness into each area of our life. With sexual abuse, it actually gets down to, and this is with every abuse, but sexual abuse in particular brings about soul murder. So the darkness will cover up the essential parts of you, your core, but with sexual abuse, it gets right down into you. It's when the deposit of darkness cripples our ability to see ourselves as a soul. Sexual abuse is so intimate. If you think of the act of intimacy between a husband and wife, just for an example, it can be the most beautiful thing. When somebody comes along, now it's consensual, okay? Sex between partners is consensual. So when somebody comes along and the sex isn't consensual, it can feel like that darkness is so overwhelming and they try to rip the very essence of who you are to replace it with the essence of who they are. I can tell you now, it is very challenging to believe after you've been sexually abused, and you can't compare whether one time or multiple times the effect of it, because we're all individual, but I can definitely say it only takes once to feel like your very soul and who you are has been murdered. I want to take that away from you. It's a very selfish act. Actually, I don't think, in the acts of selfishness, I don't think there could be anything more selfish than somebody who engages in a sexual act without mutual permission, because it does go down to the very intimate part of it. When sexual abuse is part of abuse, it is another level of challenge that you face. Coming through all of that, because we're not going to let the darkness win, full stop. Recently, a young lady asked me why I was so positive. My response was bluntly, because those that abuse me aren't going to win. They can get stuffed. They are not going to win. They are not going to take my life away from me, and they are not going to have me depart from my truth, the essence of who I am. And that's why we have to have anxiety with attitude. It's not going to win, and neither are those that put deposits of darkness into our life. The most productive way to get you through the abuse, first of all, you have your first aid kit for your body and the brain. And then what you want to do is self-observe each day. Now, if you only take one thing from this list and observe it consistently, okay, every day for 4 weeks, you take one thing off this list and you consistently observe the negative aspects. So darkness, negative, positive, light. So you observe the negative impact in your life. Now, you don't think about the abuse. That's not the point. Yesterday's gone. Tomorrow's not promised. So we want to look at just today. You want to look at how you are in this picture. What are my thoughts? What paths do my thoughts travel down? What paths do my emotions travel down each and every day? Oh my goodness, I can't tell you the value of journaling, even if you do dot points. And what it does is get it out of you, and then you can move on. So journal, and if you do 4 weeks of journaling about your thoughts each day, not only do you create a good habit and consistency, you begin to understand where you can change your thoughts. Now, I have very strong thoughts about that the only thing you need to do is change your thoughts. The people who came up with that were people who had never experienced abuse, as far as I'm concerned. And if they had, and the only thing they had to change was their thoughts, more power to them. Great, fantastic. A lot of our work actually is done at an emotional level, especially with abuse. A lot of work is done at an emotional level, and it's learning that when my emotions are going down a negative path, to say stop. Put a big stop sign up in the front of your forehead and say, say, no more. I'm not doing this today. I'm going to choose to feel positive. Choose to be full of light, life, and increase, not death, darkness, and decrease. In order to affect change in some pretty positive ways, so we've got self-observation. Your friends will be mirrors too, by the way. If somebody's ticking you off, the first person you've got to look at is you. Yeah, they may be that way, but they're a mirror so that you can look at the changes that you can make in you too. Trust me, it sucks. It gets a bit sucky about, oh man, they're ticking me off, so I've got to go look at myself and, you know, which part of my character needs to change? Where do I need to delve in more to access? What do I need to get rid of from me in order to access peace, joy, love, etc., etc.? So all the good things exist within us when we peel back the layers that we're trying to put on us. One of the simplest things that you can do is use your senses. With your sense of smell, think about, do you have a nice perfume you like to wear? Is there a nice room deodorizer you like to have on? It's going to be something that makes you feel good and alleviates the anxiety in your mind too. When we feel good, it actually becomes easier to think good thoughts too. It's not actually the other way around, which is what they used to believe, that thoughts create emotions. I read a paper recently in Psychology Today, I think it was, how they've now proven that everything comes from the emotions up. I actually think it works a bit of both ways, but definitely with abuse, we can work more effectively in changing our emotions before the thoughts get into gear. And that can also be too because of what we've learned about the brain. Sense of taste, well, we covered that already. You can feel good and change your mood with something that you really enjoy eating. This is a double-edged thing where you can look at what you're eating and if it makes you feel good, are you listening to your body and finishing when your body says enough? So it comes down to respecting your body, and it goes back to this, got to help heal your body too. Sense of touch. This isn't necessarily easy, especially with sexual abuse. It's not easy to feel comfortable being touched or touching others. It can take a long time, but you can learn with consistency even just to sit and hold a hand and learn to let it feel good. Unfortunately, you do have to retrain every part of you, but at the end of the day, you're going to help somebody else, so it's always worth it. Especially with sexual abuse, you've got to learn to say no. So until you're healed, it would be best to say no unless the person you're with is very understanding and compassionate and on a path of growth and healing themselves. Your sense of sight, I can think of a raft of things. Whether you enjoy going and sitting down and watching the waves roll in, that's a personal favourite. It's very calming, really gives you that sense of I am fully present. For some people it's nature, actually out in the forest, etc., etc. But even sight, think about movies you like to watch, video clips, music clips that you like to watch, because that's a short thing that can make you feel good and help you turn your experiences around. So what we're doing here is changing and reprogramming your body, soul and spirit into good experiences. You're giving them good things to remember rather than the impact of the abuse. And your hearing, well, for me that's just going to be music. When you get that real sense of joy come from your music, it's worth plugging in your iPad, iPhone, phone, hook your computer up to your telly, watch some good music videos, dance away. These are the things that you can do outside of yourself that help you reach into the strength and the pure love that's within you. And see, when you reach into that pure love within you, it begins to take over your whole life. It affects how people see you. They don't see the pain because you're learning to live in and express pure love that's in you. And that's what all of those things are there to do, is to help you remember that before the abuse happened, you were a being of pure love. You have this truth inside of you that always knows there's more, and you want more. You want more out of life. These were just two things that came up that I wanted to share with you. If you have any questions, you can comment down below. I want you to remember these things that I've shared today are in the most simplest form, but it's in the most simplest form that we can take them on board, change our experience of life so that the experience of abuse, no matter what it was, we can change the information in our body, our soul and our spirit. Have a beautiful, blessed week. Blessings and dreams.